I am Jonny Reps here in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, certified personal trainer, gym owner, strongman competitor, weight loss specialist, behavior change specialist. The list goes on. I'm going to talk today about some big mistakes that I see beginners make when it comes to fitness and training in general. I've been doing this stuff for over 8 years at this point. By the way, you can check out free articles and a free home workout program in the link below on my website. Number one of the biggest mistakes that I consistently see new people at the gym make is not keeping a workout log. You'd be surprised how many times I have people come into my gym or just friends and family. They ask me what they should do to achieve X goal. And one of the first things I ask them is, what are you currently doing? Sometimes they're not even doing anything. The next question is, what are you doing for your workouts? And if you don't have a specific workout log that shows the sets, the reps, the weight, you're missing out. If you have a specific goal, but you're not tracking progress, you're missing out on a lot of things. You can use that data to tweak your goal. You can celebrate your small wins. And as Yogi Berra used to say, if you don't know where you're going, you're not going to get there. Another thing I see beginners do wrong all the time is going for volume over technique. And let me tell you exactly what this means. When you're starting out learning exercises, you want to focus on main big movement patterns like the squat, the bench press, the row, the deadlift, that sort of thing. Oftentimes, I see beginners either jumping all over the place and doing all sorts of different exercises with no rhyme or reason, no importance placed on learning good technique at specific exercises, and they just get a whole lot of junk volume and not a lot of actual full range of motion and good technique building. This is perfectly fine if you have no goal other than moving. Doing this is for sure better than not working out at all. But if you have specific goals that you're trying to move towards, such as weight loss, building muscle, or building strength, this isn't going to cut it in any real way. Another thing that I often see beginners do on the other end of the spectrum is they will just keep loading more and more weight on exercises, failing reps over and over again, or having their form break down, doing half squats, quarter squats, or worse. And that is not going to get you any gains. It doesn't stimulate maximum muscle growth. It doesn't build strength. It actually potentially puts you at a higher risk of injuring yourself. Putting either the total amount of exercise you're doing or the weight you're putting on the bar as a higher level of importance over building consistent technique. That's a big beginner mistake, and you never want to do that. First, you establish technique, then you add weight, and then we'll get to adding like more volume over time. Next up, another thing I see beginners do wrong, and this is gonna be a controversial one, is listening to specific influencers. There's tons of information out there on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, both good and bad fitness information. The problem is, if you follow specific influencers, when they put out things that go against what the evidence shows, or when they put out things that go against what logic shows. Most influencers have a certain dogma that they promote. There's very few influencers that I would say are actually like fully objective when it comes to their perspective on fitness. So just know that they are selling you a product and they are pushing a specific view of whatever it is they're trying to sell. So it's not always going to be the best for you to focus on just following one person. It's good to do a method and to use specific methods and to follow specific workout programs for a time. But if you're really attached to one specific influencer, even if for some reason it's me, I wouldn't do that. Get a variety of sources for your information. Follow more evidence-based influencers. Even the quality of information for them varies. Read first-hand research yourself, like go on PubMed and learn how to read research studies. What I'm getting at is get your information from a variety of sources. Don't just follow one influencer and use their methodologies and techniques and think that they're right about everything. Next, too large of jumps in volume. What I mean by this is when you do an excessive increase in the total amount of training that you are doing very quickly. Some people, they will take days off, weeks off, miss workouts, and then they'll work out like 3, 4, 5 days in a row, get really, really sore, take a week off, and just repeat the process. This is a great way to beat yourself up, put yourself at an increased risk of injury, and not really get much progress. It's also a great way to really frustrate yourself and make yourself think that nothing works for you because you're not really sticking with something consistently enough. And this increase is just not sustainable. If you don't work out currently, start out with 2 or 3 days a week of weight training, do that for at least 3 weeks. And then once you've sustained that, then consider adding a third day or a fourth day. And if you haven't been able to sustain that, you need to seriously look at your habits and if you're actually setting up your lifestyle to facilitate these habits. Another mistake people make is too large of jumps in weight. I was talking to someone a week or two ago about their bench pressing program, and this person did keep a workout log, which was very good. But when we looked at what the workout log contained, I saw these huge fluctuations in weight from week to week in the same relative rep ranges. So one week they were benching like 85 pounds. The next week they're benching like 115 pounds. It's just like these huge percentage jumps from week to week without rhyme or reason to them. I understand if you do train with styles like RPE, sometimes if you are accurately using RPE and you're having a really bad day versus a really good day, you might have fairly large jumps in weight. But I'm talking forcing weight increases when the strength is just not there. Having really big jumps in weight puts you at a risk of injuring yourself. It will make you stall very, very quickly, and it's just not sustainable. Another problem I see is people worrying way too much about minutia when they are not doing the basics anywhere close to correct. The basics of lift consistently with progressive overload, good technique, and fairly heavy, eat a high protein diet with the appropriate amount of calories, and get plenty of general physical activity. Those three big basic things will cover probably about 80% of what you need to achieve any fitness goal, whether it's weight loss, strength, muscle gain, whatever. The people who focus on that 20% or even smaller minutia of that 20%, things like, oh, I got to get my recovery routine in, or I got to eat at this specific time, or I got to take an ice bath, or like all of this other stuff that's honestly the majority of the conversation. If you look on fitness social media, it's not doing anything for you. You need to do the basics correctly before any of that stuff even becomes a potential benefit. And much of that stuff, which we could talk about in a different video, is just bullshit. So yeah, don't waste your time. Paralysis by analysis. If you've even made it this far in this video, you might be a person who suffers from this. If you overanalyze a situation, you have to really make a workout program that you end up then not executing on. If you've hired yourself multiple personal trainers and none of them have worked out, if you have these like complex ideas in how training is supposed to go, but they never really pan out when you actually try and execute them, this might be you. I would for sure fall into this category, is where I tend to go if I don't check my ego, is that you overanalyze things and then also overanalyze why they do or don't work. Good rule of thumb, you should only spend about 10% of your time planning and about 90% of your time actually executing when it comes to fitness. All or nothing mentality. Going back to what I said previously, if you have this mentality of you need to be working out X number of times, I need to work out 5 days a week, this might be you. If when I said earlier, start out working out 2 days a week, and your initial thought to that was, that's not going to be effective at all, yet you currently work out 0 days per week, this is probably your problem. You are not doing anything unless you think it is like the perfect approach. Just do something and it's going to start you on the path toward your goals. Another thing that people always do wrong is always trying to do X. Whether that thing is always trying to lose weight. I see many people falling into this trap where it's like they've been trying to lose 10 pounds for like 3 years, or people who've been trying to get stronger for the last 5 years. They've been working on that 500-pound deadlift as their one myopic goal for the past 5 years, but they haven't gotten there. They've been trying to build muscle for the past decade, but they haven't built any noticeable muscle. Trying to do only one myopic goal over and over again when you keep failing at it. What did they say the definition of insanity is? Failing over and over and still trying the exact same thing. Diversify your goals. Do realize that building strength contributes toward building muscle. Building muscle contributes toward building strength. Building muscle contributes to improving your body composition, which makes weight loss easier. Doing these things all in separate phases can help you just avoid mental burnout and also make better progress toward your goals in the long term, especially if you've struggled to reach them before. And the final thing that I see beginners always do wrong that has been completely permeating this video and just overall I see all the time is not being consistent enough. If you have not been going to the gym consistently for at least 6 months and not missing any workouts, you're not being consistent enough. And I get it. Life gets in the way. Everybody has many reasons for why they should or can't work out as much as they want. But do what you can and build off of that. Be consistent with what you can be consistent with now, and that will always be better than being inconsistent. Anyway, that's the video. I'm sorry if I wasn't articulate enough. I got like 5 hours of sleep last night, and that was a good night. I appreciate everybody who's used this channel. You can drop me a like, a follow, leave a comment below, and I will see you in the next video.